and sit down. Shut up and sit down.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to another episode of Build, Paint, Play. I'm Dave.
Greetings, programs. I'm Jake, and we're joined this week by Greg from Turbo Dork.
Hello. Thank you guys for having me.
I was trying to find one of my Turbo Dork stickers to show off, but he's rocking the logo. So,
yeah, right. I gotta brand it, right?
Yeah, definitely. It's super. If you've got the shirt, why not wear it?
Yep.
Excellent. Welcome, Greg. Welcome. I'm also going to say hi to everybody who's in the chat at the moment. We've got Richard Ralph. We've got Luis Sanchez. We've got Scott Reedham. Scott says he's currently in the middle of the first blizzard of the season. So welcome, Scott.
Nice.
Hope you don't get snowed in. Chris Kemmings here. Josh Sawyer. Hey, Josh. Great to see you. Jez Hunt is here. Says we got our first snow in Newcastle, Northeast England earlier. Barely covering, but it still counts.
Wow. What snow? I forgot about what snow.
It is super weird as a lifelong New Englander. The fact that it's we're going into the third weekend in November and we haven't had any snow is a little strange.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like it was like 60 something on over the weekend, and like my wife was out moving stuff around, and I was helping her work on the yard on Saturday, and I was like, this is weird. Like I'm outside in a t-shirt. Like I was like, it's almost like climate change is real.
Yeah, weird.
We'll say hi to Alan as well in New Zealand. Afternoon, he says. And Josh, yeah, what's snow? I live 5 minutes from the Pacific. Well, just give it a couple of years.
Yeah, it's coming.
Yeah. So, fantastic. But welcome, everybody. We are happy to be here. We're all fighting some kind of sickness. Jake has some kind of flu. Greg's getting over COVID. And I'm just really tired from spending too much time having fun. That's
good reason. Tired.
Oh yeah, the guys who are in New Zealand and Australia, like the seasons are backwards, right? So for them, it's like spring and summer.
Oh, it's spring coming on to summer. Yeah,
interesting.
So. Does it even get to freezing in like New Zealand and Australia?
Oh yeah,
I genuinely don't know.
Like in particularly New Zealand. Well, in New Zealand and Australia, there are mountains that are snow covered for.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I was in New Zealand.
New Zealand is one of the few. Yeah. It's one of the few places on Earth that has it's like all 7 biomes.
Oh, really?
It's pretty wild. Like I was like, oh, that's kind of crazy.
It's definitely the most beautiful place I've ever been. I will say, like you could close your eyes and spin around and point, and it's like the coolest thing you've ever seen.
Pretty much. It's awesome. And of course, the other big thing is there's no land mass sort of between them and Antarctica. So
true. Yeah, there's actually the stop off point for all the Antarctica expeditions.
Yeah.
I think in Christchurch. I'm trying to remember my thing from 10 years ago, the tour I took.
Could be. Yeah. Excellent. Alan says absolutely. I'm looking forward to Christmas barbecues on the deck in shorts and t-shirt.
I mean, I'll do that in New England, so that's not...
yeah, so are we.
I mean, like I've done that before.
Awesome. And Ryan Carnes has joined us as well. Too much having fun, Dave? We haven't seen you lately. No, I've been super busy on the days that Robert's been hosting, so I apologize for that. But yeah, fantastic. And yes, just it says it's like the upside down or fairy or something. So it is upside down for sure. But no, awesome. So yeah, we've brought Greg on. Greg is Turbo Dork. You're all of Turbo.
Yeah,
I'm not all of Turbo Dork, but
he's
I am.
Turbo Dork. Like he is. He's like a super. It's like a superhero.
Yeah, I am the Turbo Dork. Nah. we're like a mom and pop company, and we have 2 part-time employees. But it is a lot me of what you see online. Yes.
Right. Awesome. And some folks might say, but Dave, aren't you guys sponsored by the Army Painter? We don't have any other paint company on. We are, and we do have another paint company on. So it's basically we're super happy that the Army Painter sponsor us, and also don't try to restrict us really. So we're allowed to have good chats with fun people about cool things that they're doing.
Also, in an industry as big as ours, like Adam and Kat and everybody, like they all know Greg. Like we're all friends. So
I was gonna say Adam and Bo are great people. We hang out every time we're at Gamma or Gen Con or whatever. Like it's a big tiny industry, and we all know each other.
Exactly.
The Army Painters makes great paints, and we don't really compete, so we're cool with each other.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Definitely super cool. But yeah, so we're going to be having a good chat about the origins of Turbo Dork and all of the cool things that you do. We've got some cool photos of paint being mixed. I'm excited to have a chat about that part of the process. And we've got some cool other info for everybody to check out. But yes, just like normal people, for sure. But what have you guys been up to hobby-wise? Jake, do you want to lead us off?
Sure. So I've still been cracking away at that Terminator squad. I'm converting them, so I'm waiting on some pieces from a buddy of mine. Weird thing with the kit. So I have like 3 sets of the Leviathan Terminators.
Yeah.
And they're all like the push fit ones. I mean, I've been kind of messing with them a little bit, and I glue them all anyways, but I thought I could just give them chain fists, and apparently the chain fist kit is like half the arm. So you have to have the fist that like comes in 2 pieces.
Right.
But a buddy of mine says he has some of the chain fists, so he's just going to give them to me, and I'm just going to cut off the chain fists and then sort of convert them onto the fists as they are. It's like a different arm assembly, so I can't just like swap them.
Right.
But yeah, so I'm waiting for those pieces, and I've got a couple other little like bits I'm going to put on just to convert them. I'm going to do this squad as I don't know if I said last time, I'm doing them as the Carcharodons. Yeah. So I want to in all the pictures they always have like chain weapons. So I was like, well, obviously they should have chain fists. How else would I know that they're like Maori inspired Raven Guard, successors? So I'm waiting for that, and then I told these guys before we jumped on. So I got this in the mail. If anybody can see this, so I'll be going to this like cool event that I can't really get into at some point in the next couple of weeks. But once I get back, I will make sure that I fill everybody in here on what that's all about. But it should be fun. So
excellent. Josh has said Sharkadons.
Yeah.
So, Josh has a whole Sharkadon army. So
nice.
Yeah, definitely super cool. So you'll have to check those out once Jake has painted them up. But no, awesome. What about you, Greg? What have you been up to hobby-wise?
So I've kind of been doing like filming tutorials and stuff lately for Turbo Dork. One of the things I think that like we've not done a great job of is teaching people how to use our paints. And one of the things like when I'm back when I was a photographer was I would do fashion photography, and a lot of fashion photography is teaching people how to pair clothing together or like how to wear clothes to make them look good. So a lot of what I'm trying to do is how do I do a quickie tutorial to show somebody how you can do a cool effect. So I'm actually painting some stuff from that Halo Flashpoint game that just came out on Saturday. So I'm painting Master Chief and doing his weapons with Turbo Shift Crystal Cavern, and then his visor with Afterburner, and filming that just as quickie little like TikTok things of like you know, I want people to realize you can do cool stuff really quickly and not have to worry too much about it, you know. But I've mainly been doing that. I've been getting into Gundam stuff as well. That there's a picture later on that we'll show you guys that actually is not technically a Gundam, but is in that same vein. But I think Gundams happen to look really nice with our paints, so I've been painting some more of them. But yeah, I just kind of bounce around between stuff. Like I've got like hobby ADD or ADHD, so it's like I'll work on something for 10 minutes here, and then I'll go do something else for 20 minutes, and it's just like it's hard for me to actually finish a project if I'm being completely honest.
So I think there are lots of folks who are watching who
Dude, there's people on this show that like...
Yes, yeah, for sure.
I've got some relic blade minis I'm working on in here that don't involve our paints at all, which that's an interesting thing to do. But I just love Sean Sutter and some of the stuff that he does. So
yeah,
and Malev.
Yeah, Malev's in the has joined us in the chat. He says that guy is my favorite Turbo Dork.
Nice.
Hi, Malev.
Excellent. And Itzio says I have the hobby ADHD. And
I feel like it's a big part of most hobbyists, like sort of, you know, world is having some sort of hobby ADHD.
Yeah, for sure.
I have that, like, I mean, partially Turbo Dork is the name of, like, you know, when you get like hyperfixation and ADHD and like you get hyper zoned in on something. Like I can do the one thing really, really well for like an hour, and then I'm like, don't do it again for like a week because like, something else shiny catches my attention.
Yeah. That's cool. I think I'm not sure sort of how mine exactly works, but when I get that hyperfixation, I can sit here. I could actually sit here for like hours, days.
Dave has ADD, not ADHD.
Okay.
So with attention deficit, you basically block out or get distracted by stuff that you don't like or don't want to pay attention to, and you're able to really like. That's the kid who will like. I played with my Legos for 6 hours because I invented a whole world in my head. Dave is that guy.
Right.
Okay. That's me. Cool.
I'm the dog from Up and like squirrel, you know, like there's so many literally shiny things around me all day. So like, what am I gonna do?
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, that's cool. That's cool. Alan said, hobby ADHD. How many different games can you be painting models for at once?
I don't know, Dave. Dave, why don't you walk us through how many models you can be painting for at once? He's working at what? Trench Crusade, Sludge, probably some Necromunda, Kill Team, Inquisitor 28, Warhammer 40K, Horus Heresy.
Keep going. Got a couple others.
Mordheim, Warcry.
No Warcry or Mordheim at the moment.
Is there a Blood Bowl team in there somewhere?
No, not yet.
Oh.
Okay.
It probably will be before Adepticon next year. But,
was it Spellcrow?
Warcrow?
Warcrow? Yeah, Warcrow.
No, I haven't done any Warcrow stuff yet.
Oh yeah, the new Corvus Belly game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that just showed up today. Ben cracked his set open at the store, and I was like, okay, I'll have to find a faction that I like so I don't paint them.
Yeah. Excellent. Just as I get stuck on a thing like Dave, the only thing that stops me is needing to smoke. Totally overfocused and obsessed. Absolutely. Cool. Cool. Can I show you guys something cool?
Sure.
Please.
No.
No.
This is no, I don't want to see cool things. That's so this arrived yesterday.
Oh, nice.
Ooh. It's literally shiny.
So
that's the slipcover for all 3 volumes?
Yep.
Nice.
That's cool.
That are in there. I love the way the light reflects off that silver.
It's really pretty.
Yeah, it arrived last night, so basically I had to go over everything last night and then send off an email to my printer saying, yes, thumbs up, approved. And then I also had to go to my bank and say, please send them lots of money. So now they're packaging everything into boxes and putting it on pallets. And hopefully by the end of the week, we'll have stuff on the way because we need to get it across Europe from Lithuania to Belgium and then onto ships and across the Atlantic to
Wow.
US. So
Do
hopefully,
do you have a European shipping hub so like they don't all come here?
yeah.
Okay, I was like, it'd be weird if they all came here and then you put a bunch of
And
them
then
back
went
on a
back.
boat. Like,
No. Now basically, I sent it to 4 different places. So I've got stock that goes to Warlord. I've got stock that goes to ShipQuest, who does my everywhere but the Americas fulfillment, and then I've got Ironheart Artisans who do my Americas fulfillment, and then Bridge warehouse my stuff in the US. So there we go. No, sorry, Alan. We will not get your books by Christmas. February. We'll be able to start shipping in February.
yeah, isn't that when New Zealand Christmas is anyways?
Well, they have a long Christmas for sure. Yeah.
Do they?
It's like
Actually?
June 25th, right?
You can just tell me anything, I'll believe it at this point.
But yeah, so all of the books, these books are really nice, really lovely, really excited about them. But yeah, so it's the tough part. It's the part where I know, hey, these are really cool and I want them to be in people's hands, but I still have to wait for them to move halfway around the world.
It's frustrating how long product development can take sometimes, because it's like you get the go ahead and you tell the factory and it's like, okay, it's going to be 3 months and then it's going to be on a boat for another 6 weeks and then it's going to be in customs for 2 more weeks. I mean, we make everything ourselves here. At least you're having it made in the EU, which is going to be much quicker, at least for the European customers. But those look amazing.
Yeah, they're super exciting. I'm really really psyched about all of them. They're all quite different. Like Sam's stuff is just a book full of experiments. Everything that he did was just like, I'm going to try this. I'm going to try that. I'm going to try something else. So, yeah, really super cool. So I'm very excited to delve in a little bit further to those and find my favorite pages. I know what they are in the digital version, like on my screen, but I want to see what they are in the printed version. So super excited. But yes, that's kind of the thing I'm super focused on now. But I've got a few photos later of the Vastarian event, so we'll talk about that a bit more when we get to it. But should we jump right in?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
the rest of it. So I can talk more about some other things. Sorry, just quickly, I'm going to check the chat. Itzio says, I think the real problem with hobby ADHD is wanting all of the games and things. You buy those things, hobby once in a while when you can, and then buy more stuff to keep that happy feeling. Yep, that can definitely be an issue.
We are in more of a gray plastic collecting hobby sometimes than we are in a painting hobby.
Yeah, absolutely. Alan says, I need something to do for my 7 weeks off over Christmas.
Shit.
It's not quite that long. It's maybe 5 weeks, but yeah, awesome. Dave Hall says they will look lovely next to the others on my shelf. Excellent.
How many are there now?
These will take it to 12 for the Art of series. So pretty psyched about that. And yeah, Scott said all 3 authors took a pick together at Monty. So they were at Monty Sansovino over the weekend. And I was super jealous. Absolutely super jealous. But one day I'll get to go. But awesome. Cool. Now I'm going to hit the present button, share screen, window.
This is part of the show. Is Dave walking us through what he's doing?
Yep. He's calling out all the different key combinations.
And there we go.
Oh, hey.
Oh yeah, I watched. This was super funny.
This was fun.
Yeah. So yeah, last week, I think just before the show, they dropped a video teasing that they were going to be working with John Blanche and this week, of course, is the oops, sorry, we but great video with Bo there. So if you haven't seen that, head to their YouTube channel and check out that the fun video there. But you get there's a little bit more information there about the paints. But in this Instagram post, Bo's definitely saying that more information coming in January. So,
I mean, I think it's hilarious. Like in the weird sort of like internet, peeking at your Christmas presents early kind of mentality that we've like developed. You've got two groups of people, right? There's people who want spoilers, and then there's people who absolutely do not want spoilers. Right. And I'm kind of like neutral. Like I genuinely don't care. And it's and my mentality is always, if it's something that I want, when it comes out, I will get it. And if it's something that I don't want, I genuinely don't care. So, you know what I mean? So the fact that this came out and people were up in arms, and I was like, well, they're working with John Blanche. What is John Blanche known for? And they're a paint company. My guess is they're going to do a bunch of custom paints that John has picked out and designed. And they were like, surprise, we're working on custom paints that John. And I was like, of course they are. Like, why is this nice? It's like they're like, we're opening a chain of sandwich shops called, the Army Sandwich, and we're working in conjunction with John, and he's developing the menus. It's like, no, they're making paints with John, of course. Like,
right.
Yeah.
Oh man, it was insane to me. But
well, they're all going to be cheese and onion sandwiches.
Right. That's fine. That's all they do, because that's what John wants. So
exactly.
Is it? I love his artwork. I mean, it was the Sisters of Battle. I forgot the name of the character, but
Canonus Viridian.
Yes, like that is so quintessential. Like Greg of 13 years old.
The big one that most people get is the 3rd edition 40K box.
Oh, it's Blood Angels on there, right?
It's Black Templars.
Black Templars.
Black Templars. Oh, wait.
It has like the crazy yellow background.
Yes.
That's the one that most people are like, oh, that one. Yeah. I mean, John's done so many like very seminal art pieces that everyone's like, I remember that one. But that the 3rd edition box set is usually the one that most people are like, that's the one that I remember seeing and being like, that was the box when I got into 40K kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I got it around 2nd, which is the one of the Blood Angels, but I thought John Blanche did that one too.
The second edition?
Yeah.
I don't think that's John. The 2nd edition one, I believe, is
that Dave Gallagher?
Yeah, I think that's Dave Gallagher.
Is it? Well, crap.
I don't know. That's cool. It's obviously not as important as a historical piece as 3rd edition.
Yeah, but again, like John Blanche has been, the creative sort of like guiding hand behind Games Workshop for the last 40 years. He's also shaped all the artists and all the people that I absolutely adore are all sort of proteges of him. Like Jez Goodwin is like one of my absolute favorites. The Kapinskis, like all these people all work like there's so many of them to even get
Alex
through.
Boyd, Paul Nayton.
Yeah, all of them worked for John, and he was kind of like the shepherd to like make sure everything was moving in the right direction. I mean, there's a whole style of painting based on like the fact that Blanchitsu exists is because of John's like painting and aesthetic. So
true.
It's
he's the OG Grimdark.
Yeah, legit. Like
yeah. There we go. Alan's saying the 2nd edition of Blood Angel artwork was John Blanche. So
sweet.
There we
go brain.
And Jonathan Palomo's joined us. Hello, guys. Made a live show. It's been a long time. Nice. Welcome back, Jonathan. Glad you can join us. Awesome. The next slide that we've got. So I think about 6 weeks ago, we had Owen Rarau on talking about Sunshard Embren. A whole bunch of you would have seen that episode. If you haven't seen the episode, definitely go back and check it out. Learn a bit more about the background, the minis, the gameplay. But their Kickstarter went live today. I backed for the 2-player starter set, physical 2-player starter set. There's a link in the notes below, so you can go and check that out today.
My brain always translates this as Sunsharo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm like Sunsharo Embren. I'm like, okay, cool.
Embren.
That looks cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the Shardborn faction though. I think they would look good on our paints. I'm
Yeah.
gonna pick this up for that.
They are neat. I've got some of those to paint for a prize for the end of the year. We're going to work out what they're going to do for that. But yeah, so definitely check that out. Hope everything's going well with the Kickstarter, Owen. Awesome. Next up, hoodies. We'll mention these again. So Jake has sorted out some hoodies. Sorry, I didn't grab a new screenshot of the 60.
Yeah, again, this is wrong. They're $60.
Let's go put that there. There we go.
Yeah, perfect. There we go.
Okay.
They're $60. The 2XLs and the 3XLs are $4 more each time. But like small, medium, large XL, they are $60.
Cool.
There's 3 different options to pick from. There's the black camo one, and it'll have our logo on the front, and then all of our sponsors on the back. There's a black zip up, and there's a black like stars and stripes one. You just pick the style, pick your size, and we'll get them all done.
Yep, absolutely.
They're pretty sick.
Yeah, cool. Again, link is down in the notes below, along with a link to our T-shirts.
Greg, one of the cool things about having an interest in a merch company is like I can just make whatever merch I want. So
Yeah, why not?
so if anybody out there wants merch, let me know and I will make you merch. So
Hank has joined us. Good evening, Hank. Scott says, would we even have flying skulls or cyborg weird cherubs without John Blanche? Truly, he looks at the world and sees only darkness, likely explained by eating cheese and onion sandwiches.
Maybe.
Josh Potter has joined us, says he's watching the live stream amongst the live wires. So hopefully you've been safe while you're doing that, Josh.
Oh, God.
Awesome. Fantastic. And yeah, Alan, if you want to line one up for Adepticon, have a chat with Jake.
What I would say is just message me and we'll place the order, and I can probably shipping to Australia and New Zealand is a nightmare. It's just crazy expensive no matter what. It's usually not as bad as the system says. All the postal carrier services, they all like way overestimate what things are going to be. So if you place an order, let me know. Like I can always double check it against your address and see if I can do it for less. So
yeah, excellent, cool. So yeah, I mentioned that I went to Houston for the Vestarian event. It's the T-shirt I'm wearing.
I assumed you just went drinking at the Hobbit Cafe. That's what
we did that as well. We did that as well. So yeah, there's a Hobbit Cafe in Houston, which apparently has been there since 1974. It is one of the only places in the world that has an official license from the Tolkien estate to serve Hobbit food. But of course, I went in sort of expecting a whole Hobbit menu, but instead it was actually more of a just like a regular sort of hole in the wall
Pub
menu, restaurant menu.
Dave was like, one order of mozzarella sticks, please.
Yeah.
No, it was it would have been something like the Lonely Mountains black bean nachos.
Right. I mean, because dwarves love Mexican food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gandalf's huevos rancheros.
Yeah, the guacamole of Mount
Doom.
Yeah. Or the Mount Doom of guacamole. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, actually, I think there is a Mount Doom guacamole on
oh my God.
I could be wrong. But I ended up getting the Biffa's lamb burger.
Oh.
Because that's something that the Biffa ate during the movie, if anybody was watching. But yes, it is there in Houston, and you can go and check it out, Jake. You totally should.
Oh, it's the Lonely Mountain fajita nachos,
Right.
the dragon wings, the fellowship platter. Oh, it's Treebeard's guacamole salad. There
Oh, my bad.
That makes sense, though.
Awesome. So the Vestarian event was held at Asgard Games.
There's a lot of black T-shirts in that photo.
There are so many black T-shirts. I think out of there were about 30 of us who were involved. There were maybe 3 people who didn't have black T-shirts. So That's fine. I was wearing black T-shirts the entire time. But no, so Bill Ford is the Houston local. Here he is.
He's the guy. He's the guy in the black long sleeve T-shirt.
Yeah, black long sleeve T-shirt there.
Yes.
It's different.
He worked with the Wire brothers, who are from the East Coast here. So this was Eric, Greg, and his brother Adam were in the shot somewhere. Adam's over here in the red hat. I don't know where. Greg's probably here. But those guys have been building the setting and planning the event for probably about a year. Bill made, I think, 6 tables for it all. The Wire brothers brought another 2. The whole idea behind the game, the series of games, we played a whole bunch of games over the weekend, was that on this particular cathedral planet, different cults were either trying to create a beacon that would act a bit like the Astronomicon, something that could sort of light the way between Vastarian across the Cicatrix Maledictum to Earth, to Terra, and then everybody else was trying to stop that from happening. So you have to declare your allegiance, fight through the different battles on the tables, which are super cool. We're playing like a stripped down version of Necromunda 17. So the 2017 Necromunda, but just without a lot of the sort of unnecessary stuff. But it was definitely very cool. Had a lot of great artists there. And Martin McCoy is a fantastic artist. Here he's standing. Wrong way. There we go.
Standing in the cafe.
Standing in the cafe. He's here. He made up a tarot deck that the Wire brothers got printed, which was super cool. So we got to use that a couple times during the weekend. Here's one of the games that I was involved in. So yeah, this is Bill, one of the organizers. This is Jimmy Henriksson from Sweden. Flew all the way from Sweden to play the weekend. But yeah, a lot of cool, fun stuff going on.
I like that Necromunda and IQ28 have kind of taken the hobby to like this whole other level. You know, it's like it's like its own narrative. It's like it's even harder to describe to people like how involved it can be in its own world. You know, it's like, and it's like you have to know it to know it. You know, like I'm a Necromunda guy and I haven't gotten too deep into like the IQ28 stuff, but like I'm like jealous of the people that are, because they've got this whole narrative and like imagination that I don't, you know?
Right. Yeah, there's a point where you just have to not worry about the rules bit of things.
Right. Yeah, it's like it's not even rule of cool, it's just it'll work itself out in the way that makes the sense for the story, you know?
Yep, exactly. And really what's going on the table at the time, which would be great. So in this particular game, we're all trying to fight our way into the cathedral there to get into a mausoleum and extract some blood that was then going to be used in lighting the beacon. Jimmy sort of walked up to the or walked his leader up to the side door here. And this by that point, Cody Taylor from Utah was playing, and his forces were kind of defending the mausoleum. But rather than sort of rush straight in, sort of guns blazing, Jimmy walked up and said, "Hey, here's what we're trying to do. Here's what we'd like to do. Perhaps we can work together." And Cody was like, "Okay, well, make a cool check. If you pass your cool check, then you've convinced me." So he rolled his dice. If he hadn't convinced him, guns would have blazed. But instead, he passed his cool check and was like, "Okay, cool. Yeah, you've made a convincing argument. Come on in."
Cool.
Mind you, Bill and I were just like, we just ran forward and went in guns blazing. So that was our approach. But yeah, you're right. It is amazing, sort of the stories that can be told when you're not too worried about what a technical result should be or a mechanical result should be. This is a shot towards the end of the weekend where my leader there with her two power blades made it all the way to the beacon, and she's standing on an Arbor slider there, so one of the little Imperial transport sort of shuttles, and she's on top of it because she had to clamber on the back of it when it was taking off on a previous game. So she made it all the way to the beacon, sort of hanging on to the back of that shuttle.
Nice.
So it was super cool. But yeah, I'll talk a bit more about this in other shows for the next few weeks because I've got a ton of stories, but we won't go too deep into them now. But yeah, and I got some cool things as well. I will go back to big size. There we go.
Huh.
My cool, the cool box that I'd done.
Oh, right.
That is badass.
My warband. They're not in there at the moment, of course. But I got all the folks who played to sign the back of it.
Aw.
So a
That's
nice
so
little
cool.
memento to hang on to, which is pretty cool. So I'm very, very psyched about it all.
They should run that event at Adepticon.
Fun.
They should run that event at Adepticon.
They're going to be. I think they'll probably take some of the stuff along. Like this table that was played on at the end. This is the lighthouse table. Was built by Johnny Lashley, who does a lot of Ink 28 stuff as well. And he drove it all the way from Nashville to for us to use, and it was very cool, super cool to see. Just so much creativity in that one room, which was awesome. But yeah, fantastic. Thanks for letting me ramble about that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, Necromunda is like the one game that I still can keep up with these days. So I love Ink 28. You know, for kind of like you said, taking it to that extra creative level. You know, and like people can really make the gangs, and then the story is their own, and I think that's amazing.
I feel like, and I'm assuming it's basically just a change scale version of the original Inquisitor rules. So
No,
it's not.
no, we don't use the Inquisitor rules. You
I
could.
think it originally meant that, but I think it's
Yeah.
different now.
Yeah, it's more of a what's going to be a bit more appropriate for the setting. If it was like a gritty sports game in like an Ink 28 setting, you probably use the Blood Bowl rules. You can adapt whatever rules you can adapt.
Yeah, like
So,
I
like-
think it
so
was
what rule-
Inquisitor,
what
but
rules were you
scaled
playing?
down.
Fun.
What rule set were you playing?
A stripped down a version of Necromunda.
Okay, all right. I thought they were playing. I thought you were playing a converted Inquisitor.
No.
Interesting.
I think the term originally was it was supposed to be the rules of Inquisitor scaled down to 28, but I think since Necromunda came back out in 2017, it has kind of become its own just subgenre of Necromunda that it is more about kind of converting and story and narrative. I think. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Dave.
No.
I
I think,
always thought the original Inquisitor. I thought the original Inquisitor felt like, or the closest you were going to get to Rogue Trader. Like Rogue Trader, everybody's like, "Oh, Rogue Trader's Warhammer 40K," and I'm like, "It's not. Rogue Trader is. It's probably closer to Kill Team or Necromunda than any of the 40K systems."
Yeah.
But it because the idea is you're playing a squad, but it's like choice driven, like an RPG. I mean, it's. So that's why I always thought Inquisitor was like, I was like, oh, that's close.
Yep. So yeah, Jess says from the Hobbit Cafe to the beacons are lit. Absolutely. Josh says, did you all use progression as well? Yeah, we did have progression during the course of the games. So you earn experience. Again, it was a very stripped down version of it. But there are a few sort of extra skills that were super cool and very sort of thematic that the brothers had sort of put together. So it was like Necromunda, take a whole bunch of stuff out, lay some stuff back on, in a different sort of way, but very much focused on creating fun stories. And Scott says you can't use the OG Inquisitor rules. Nobody can. I agree, Scott. I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying they weren't a hot mess. I'm just saying that from a narrative perspective, it was probably the closest.
But the biggest thing, Jez also says the rules knocking about online. Really, the Necromunda rules just stripped back. But what I'll try and do is, I accidentally left my rules packet in Houston, but Adam's bringing them back for me, Adam Wire. So I'll grab hold of those next time I see him, and I'll see if I can get a copy of the PDF and post it in the group so folks can check it out. But really, the important thing is that the rules aren't the important part. The rules just sort of help you tell the story. Telling the story is the main focus. So,
semi-diversion question: where does Turnip 28 fall into the land of?
Well, it's one of the things where so 28. So started to think 28. The idea of using or following inquisitorial stories in the 28mm scale. 28 is now being used as a term where it's not just 28mm miniatures, it's more of an art movement, really. So it's
right.
So Turnip 28 is a game that's about
you play as rival turnip cabals.
Well, the troopers are actually all sort of devoted to rival root vegetables.
Oh my god!
You could be a carrot regiment. You could be a turnip regiment. You could be a rutabaga regiment. But yeah, so there's a whole bunch of things that have sort of spun off that.
There are times where we have too much freedom.
Now it's fantastic. It's just a rolling art movement, really. I'm thinking about it as a series of commercial products. It's not. It's just art, which is great. But fantastic. And Jess says they're my favorite kind of rules. Absolutely. But yeah, so there we go. I think next up, are we right? Yes. What everybody came for.
Turbo Dork. What's that?
I don't know. Well, tell us.
Yeah. So where does it all begin?
Where does it all begin?
Do we begin at the beginning of the hobby for me, or do we begin at the beginning of Turbo Dork? I guess that's the other question.
I'm not sure. Sorry,
yeah.
I did say that. Yeah, let's have your quick hobby origin story.
The hobby origin story is I actually grew up not that far from Jake. I grew up in New Hampshire, kind of on the border with Massachusetts in a little town called Hollis. And we had a gaming store in Nashua called the Wizard's Tower, where I played at as a kid. And unfortunately, it's been closed for I think like 18 years now. But it was like
it's been a minute.
It was like a house in the middle of not a great part of town, and it was my home away from home, where I became who I am today. Of playing 40K, starting with second edition and Magic with like beta, and like it was a good time when I was a kid and had no responsibilities, and I could kind of do whatever I wanted until like I was a teenager. But I've basically been in the hobby since I was 8, and I've been doing it with my parents too. Like my dad still plays games, and my mom still paints miniatures. Like if you ever look at our website, our blog is written by my mom. She's 70 and still paints minis and goes by Mama Dork.
Awesome.
So we're kind of a family business. But I grew up and I became a commercial photographer for when I went to school or college, and then had a 15-year career after that, and got back into the hobby around 8th edition Warhammer 40K, mainly as like a de-stressor. It's like I lived and worked in downtown Los Angeles in the entertainment industry, and when it's a fast-paced industry that has a lot of stress involved, and I was like, I kind of want to play games again and paint miniatures and just have some fun creative like an outlet that had nothing to do with photography or the industry. And so I started painting Tyranids again, and it's the only Warhammer 40k army I have fully painted as Tyranids, and it has nothing to do with Turbo Dork, but I'm still proud of them.
Cool.
But yeah, I wanted to make cut to a few years later, and I wanted to paint a Emperor's Children army for Horus Heresy, or 30k at the time, and there was no metallic purple out there for the right kind of color for that army. And basically, I just started researching how to make paint. I think I did like 300 different tests of different mediums and different pigments, and just mixing stuff together in my sink, and came up with that purple, which is what we call People Eater now. And that's basically how our company got started, was that one purple. And we put it online with, I think I made 15 other colors at the time. And that was on August 24th in 2018. And then we got tweeted about an hour later after I put that stuff online by my friend Ross. And he's kind of big on the behind the scenes of the gaming industry. And we had distribution lined up like 6 hours later, and like we hadn't even been out for a day. So it's just been off to the races since then, and a lot of like kind of building the bridge as we cross it. But yeah, after about 6 years, I feel like we probably got a pretty good handle on it. But it was definitely an interesting like spark, and you know, just the right thing at the right time, and just being able to kind of grow with it, and fix the mistakes as we came to them, and be honest about things, and now we've got a really good product, and I'm really proud that people can make cool stuff with it. I get to kind of live creatively through other people now, you know, and what they create. But yeah, it's been an interesting journey, and it was not one I had originally planned on being going down this road. But I really enjoy it now that I'm here.
Yeah, that's awesome. That the things with just
yeah.
I think obviously filling a big hole in the market that the folks were looking for. So.
Yeah, I think we were really lucky to carve out this niche that kind of nobody else does, of like these really bright colors and shifting colors, and it was something that I think that people didn't know they wanted, and I didn't know people wanted, you know. And but yeah, it was crazy how quickly it happened. It was like within the first 3 months of us being around, we were in like 100 retailers or something like that, and that was. I don't even know how I'd go about doing that again at this point.
Right. Yeah. No, that's amazing. That's awesome. Just quickly, Mick Palazzi has joined us. Good morning, Mick.
Hello.
And Scott asked if Christmas in Hollis, like the Run DMC song. But
is there a Run DMC song, Christmas in Hollis?
You've never heard that?
No. Oh shit! I gotta look this up later.
They're talking about Hollis Queens, but
right.
Oh, are they? Okay.
Yeah, I clarified.
I'm pretty sure they did not. They were not talking about Hollis, New Hampshire. I remember going into back when Borders books was still a thing. You know, they had the discount section in the front of the Borders, and you could pick up whatever for like $5. And there was one that was like America. And I flipped to the first page, and it was a satellite or like a helicopter photo of the downtown of Hollis, New Hampshire. And I was like, wow, I grew up in like the quintessential Americana, like small town. Right. It was a very different world than I live in now, and very different than Los Angeles.
Yeah, for sure. Jez Hunt also says starting with just purple is how the Phoenicians did it. So
yep.
You're in good stead. He also says kitchen sink science is a great beginning.
So the funny thing is, a lot of organic chemistry is what they call bucket science, which is they literally pour stuff into a bucket and mix it together, and it works. And in a lot of cases, they actually don't even know why it works. It just does. It was like so I went back to Cal Poly a couple of years ago to learn organic chemistry for when I was doing our remix reformulation, and it was funny asking, you know, the actual professors questions about specific things, and like they're like, no, I don't actually don't know why that works. It just does, you know. We just go with it. Or like, why do we call like house paint latex paint when it doesn't have latex in it anymore? And it's like, we don't know. We just do. But yeah.
Cool. I'm gonna pull up this this photo that you sent, or these photos you sent through.
Yeah, this is my first. Well, we don't call them color shifts, but turbo shift, which was ground as lava on the left. I have this little guy still somewhere in my closet over here. I never got a chance to actually paint his head and put it on, but I had tons and tons and tons of Space Marines, as I think a lot of us do, and so they ended up being my kind of paint test fodder to make sure the paints actually looked pretty good. So I think it took like 18 tries to get ground as lava. So you'd ask for what was like the first mini I painted with this, and that was the one guy.
Right.
But then I wanted to show off the Necrons, which is, we came out a couple years ago with what we call Zenny shifts. So they are turbo shift colors, i.e. colors that will change depending on the angle they are in the light, but ones that will do a different thing whether they're over a white or a black base coat. And so this is to show off on my Necron army, of which I only have 500 points, but whatever.
Right.
But basically you start with black, you dry brush white, like you're going to do like a slap chop or something like that. But then when you put prism power over it, which is a blue to pink, wherever it was black goes blue, and wherever it's pink goes, or wherever it's white goes pink. So it's a kind of a cool way to like lock in your shift effect through doing underpainting. And we have 7 colors that do that now, and it's one of those things I'm like always trying to work on more. They're just really hard to make. But I was really proud of that one. That was the first one.
Nice.
Those are sick.
That's great. So is that you said you got 7, you're always working on more. Is that like a constant process? You're always going, okay, here's another sort of spectrum that I want to work in. Here's another, let's try it and see.
It is a lot of mixing and matching and testing. We were talking about what projects are we working on, and it's like the things I'm painting the most are generally plastic spoons, like several times a day with different mixes to see how they're going to look, because you always want to wait about 24 hours after you mix something up just to see if something weird happens to it. Like there's certain pigments that if you mix them in, they just become sludge, and you can use a little bit of them. If you use too much, it just, it's like concrete. So there's a balance to the process of development. Takes a lot longer than you would think. So I'm always mixing up a few things, letting them marinate. Next day I come back, I spray them, let them sit overnight, see how they look, that kind of thing. Because they also change how they look over the course of like 12 hours. So yeah, I do a lot of spraying, and I do a lot of airbrushing of spoons. That's like my life. A good portion of the time. I probably airbrushed thousands of spoons at this point. I buy them by like the catering case, so it's like 50 pounds of plastic spoons.
Awesome.
But yeah, it's I don't know. I forgot the original question, but I'm just rambling because that's what I do.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's just like the question was about development and how you go through that process.
It's a little bit, like there'll be days where it's like, I want to work on purples today, so I'm going to make a bunch of purples and see what they'd look like. And then some are more purple than others, and some end up being blue, and some end up being pink by accident or stuff like that. I come from being kind of a bit of a crazy artist, so it's a little bit like every day is a little different. Again, the ADHD thing. But I love color. I always used color in my photography, and so it's kind of fun that I get to do this every day. Is literally just mess around with different paints and pigments and see what kind of comes out.
I think we've got some fun. Well, sorry, we got a bunch of fun photos. Speaking of color.
Yeah, this is going to be my next YouTube video. I'm calling him Cray Cray. He's a Neon Genesis Evangelion crawfish. But nice. I just realized he's not actually a Gundam, although I thought he was a Gundam model from Bandai. I think he's from Fujimu. They've got a whole line of like NGE like reskinned things. Like they've got a scarab beetle and stuff. But this was trying to show. So one of the things I thought was kind of cool with like Gundams is that they come with colored plastic. And so I wanted to show that you don't necessarily need to undercoat something. You can just spray straight onto the plastic.
Right.
So it already came with like a light green and like a nice purple plastic. So I mixed up some custom stuff of the purple is People Eater and Pearl Gray mixed together. And then the green is Apple Seed and Mallow Malice. And I just sprayed it straight onto the kit and then built it. And it was one of those things like it was like super fun to have this really like effective process of getting this cool, colorful kit built within just like a couple like an hour of spraying, because there's like a lot of little pieces to these kits compared to a mini where it's like 2 pieces. But it's all push fit and it just pops together and it looks super cool. So this guy's going to be following me around to conventions from now on.
Just we had Jez in the chat ask, does it have to be airbrushed?
No. One of the big things when we came out with Remix last January was bringing in more hand brushability. So I balanced the flow and the feel to work better with hand brush and to level better. And then we also doubled the pigment in like half the line, so it'll cover better with the hand brush. Before, I would definitely say, like, if you've got the like classic 20 milliliter bottles, they're definitely a little bit better for airbrushing than hand brushing. But our customers go about 50-50. I just happen to be an airbrush guy because that's what I do every day for the testing stuff, so I'm comfortable with it. But tons of people hand brush. And I am going to be doing more videos on that. Because the reality is too, I mean, in this case, everything's turbo dorked out, right? But the reality is, I think where our paints really shine are smaller details, like a visor on something, or a power sword, or a shining bauble like on somebody's belt, like for a potion, that kind of thing. And I think that's actually where more people use our paints than I realize. I go for these big splashy, like over the top kind of signature pieces where everything's our color, but the reality is I think more people use our paints as effects.
I've said for years, like, people have always come in, and because we've carried your stuff for a couple of years at this point at least, and I always people come in and they're like, oh, I want to do my whole army in Turbo Dork, and I'm like, okay, and then they'll be like, what do you mean? I'm like, so my take with your stuff is I describe a lot of it like if you're at an ice cream bar. So Turbo Dorks is sprinkles and whipped cream, and it's the toppings. So I think, and a lot of times I think less is more. I think we had one guy, he did a whole bunch of guys, and he did all of their weapons with Turbo Dork stuff. They looked incredible. We had another guy, he did it's an army that has a lot of like the crazy, I forget what game it is, but it has a bunch of like the wizards, all of like the crazy plastic spell effects.
Yeah.
So he did all of the spell effects and all of like the smoke and fire on all the bases with Turbo Dorks, and it looks great. And then another friend of ours did an entire army in Turbo Dorks, and it's cool, but like there's so much going on that the army just kind of gets lost.
Right.
But yeah, like it's a super cool product, and there's nothing like it, but I think you get so much more punch if you use it on something if you kind of dot that I or put that exclamation point. I think that's what it's like best at.
Yeah, it's almost like you kind of have to curate the paint job properly with it. Like there's certain armies that will work well if you do everything in it. But even like Tyranids, which is like the one army I play, you can't do all of them in it. Like maybe the Carapace, but you still want the fleshy bits to look fleshy and things like that, or robes should still look like fabric.
It comes back to that contrast thing. If you go to get a good looking model, you have contrast, and if everything has the same surface texture or so like metallic appearance or something like that, you're not getting a contrast there. So
exactly, yeah. So it's like I almost think that, and it's funny to like make a product to be like use less of it, but like it's more like figure out where to use it for the maximum impact. And yeah, it's like introduce normal paints like Army Painter to to paint the skin and to paint the the leather pouches and all that stuff, and then let the Turbo Dork paint literally shine for the the pieces where it should be. I
use Turbo Dork a lot for like I think I was using Bada B for all my BattleTech cockpits.
I could see that. Yeah.
So like that looks
Cockpits
really
are great.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
I mean there's
visors.
there's so many. So Jess wanted to know, does the shift effect work when you mix the shift paints?
No, not so much.
Yeah, I would assume there's a very specific chemical process that needs to be done.
So the shifts are essentially like liquid prisms. Like they're tiny little mica flakes that are meant to reflect or refract certain colors. And if you mix them together, they're kind of doing the two different things or the two different colors all at once. And I don't, you can try it and it might look cool, but it's been generally not super great. Our regular metallics, if it just says metallic on the side of the bottle, they work like normal paint, so you can mix the heck out of them, and you can make custom stuff. Just today, Jen, who works for us, was making. She does long dog dice, so she custom casts resin dice for people, and she was inking some dice, and she needed a navy blue, so she took Cool Ranch and added some black ice to it and made it into a navy blue. But if you took like blue raspberry and mixed it with ground as lava, I don't know what it would be. It's always worth trying.
It'd be a metallic brown.
Yeah, which we have metallic browns. We have Death by chocolate or Death by.
Chris wants to know what color would be a good. What color would be best for 30K power weapons?
30K power weapons. Okay, let's see.
I'm gonna say whatever. It's gonna be a good contrast, like hue contrast for whatever your base.
Right. If you have a warm paint job, go with a cool shift, something like Crystal Cavern, which is a really nice light, kind of blue purpley. If you have a
blue purple could be good for like Chris does a lot of Imperial Fists, so yeah.
So Dave, do we want to show off these?
Oh.
Yeah. Oh. Yep. Where's my box? It's right over there. Well, if you want to pull them up. There we go.
Yeah, so
open the box and show a couple.
Yeah, so Greg was nice enough to send Dave and I each a kit of these. So this is this is the entire new range and the new bottles and everything.
This is all 80 new colors.
So we got
yeah.
So we got these.
Oh yeah, our new mixing sticks too.
So silicone mixing sticks. I got a couple of these.
Our silicone paint palettes.
Little paint palette. Little silicone paint palette. In white and in black.
Just while you're pulling those out, Jake. What was the lava color that you mentioned, Greg?
Oh, ground is lava.
Grounded.
Oh, ground is lava.
Grounded lava.
The term is also floor is lava, but our color is called ground because I got it wrong.
Ground is lava. Yeah, Chris, for your blue-gray Mechanicum, I think something like the ground is lava would be good.
Ground is lava. Cloud9 could be nice. It's a light, like a yellow pink. Depends on how light you want your power swords to be.
Yeah. Chris's blue is it's fairly dark. It's not super dark, but it's also not like a royal blue.
Right.
So
he could do Afterburner.
Yeah, Afterburner is nice. I use Afterburner a lot for like cockpits and visors and things like that because it's the end of barrels. It's like the perfect like muzzle burn. Sometimes I'll like sponge a little bit of like Cool Ranch, which is our dark blue, and then People Eater, which is our purple, and then like Afterburner for that like muzzle burn effect.
So there's also this handy dandy thing, which is also on the website, which is basically examples of what all the colors look like.
Yep.
That is like my magnum opus. Like a lot of our colors need to be seen to be believed in person. And it's really nice going to conventions because I bring those golems with us. And so people can actually see in person and pick that way. But I was trying to figure out how do we extend that to everybody else? So I set up a photo studio to do photography of them. It helps because I used to be a photographer. But then it was like, why don't I just like make a swatch card for people? So every order on our website comes with a swatch card, and then we're trying to make a like a little display that I can send to stores too. But yeah, this
Greg, are these because I noticed you have them in different bags. Are these sorted in any way? Or is it like these are all like the color shifts? These are all the metallics. These are all everything else.
not in those bags. I mean, they are sorted. If you look at the side, you can figure out the different lines. But I did not sort them for you guys. I just mix and match usually as I'm like I just walk down the line alphabetically and pull like all the different colors off.
So that, and just so our people listening know, and so I know, the Turbo Shift ones are like the regular ones that kind of blend from one color to another. The Xena Shift ones are the ones that need the Zenithal undercoat.
So yeah, we technically have 3 types of paint. So we have 40 metallics, which I call single color metallics, and those are just like red, blue, purple. And then we have 33 turbo shifts. Those usually go over a black base coat, and they kind of do their own thing. So like ground is lava, blue raspberry, those are like our signatures. And then we have the 7 Zenny shifts, and those depending on if you have a black or white base coat, will do a different effect. If you just put it over black, you're going to get mostly a shift of one type. If you just put it over white, you'll get the other shift. But yeah, the real signature for those is if you do the like black and white dry brushing or a zenithal, like prime, that kind of thing.
Dude, these are awesome.
I know we also had a couple of other photos that I'm going to pull up because I think they look awesome. So these ones, what's going on with these?
Oh yes. There's times when I make the paint and it just like I come back to it in the morning because we de-air all of our paints by letting them sit for 12 hours before we bottle them, and sometimes in the morning I come back and there's like this beautiful like colorful foam on top, and so I've been taking pictures of them just because they're like cool textures. So shifting sands, which is actually like a brown to brown shift, has blue in it when I make it, but then when you mix it up and use it, it just looks like brown. It's one of those like super weird chemical properties.
Yeah.
And then we've got Let Them Eat Cake on the other side, which is the beautiful like purple with some blues in them, and then some kind of warmer tones. So there's nothing really to explain there other than just pretty. And I like showing off pretty things because I like that.
I think sending these through to me is like that does speak completely to your love of photography and colors.
Yeah. There's definitely an aspect of like sometimes it's just cool and I have no good reason to send a photo along or take it. It's just it looks pretty to me as I'm making it. Like I'm actually starting a TikTok channel of our like the paint mixing process, because there's some times when it's like just watching it go on the mixer is like mesmerizing, and so I'm like, this could be good like ASMR content for other people too. This is actually an allusion to next week, which this is Emerald Nightmare. This was a dark green metallic that we had a few years ago, and was one of the first colors we had to discontinue because I didn't know what I was doing back in the day, and I couldn't make it work with our freeze-proof mix. But now I can. So, and I figured out how to make it work. So we're bringing it back for 1 week only next week for Black Friday week. So it's going to be like our one limited edition color. But
cool.
We might end up keeping it around, if I'm being honest.
I'm going to switch back to this for a second. Scott has asked, Scott has said, de-air? Explain, please.
Oh, so when you mix it up, so we mix it like 2000 RPM with a dispersion blade, which basically looks like a little buzzsaw, and it breaks up all the mica and kind of disperses it. However, it also whips a whole bunch of air into the paint that thankfully you just let it sit and it takes it out over time. And then we mix up with a spatula by hand before we bottle. Otherwise, if we went straight into bottling, it would be like a big half bottle full of foam, that kind of thing.
Right. So yeah, looking at the photo, like a close look here at the photo, you can see all these little bubbles through that the blue element.
Yep, that have all risen to the surface. It's just a process in paint making. There's several stages, and one of them is, or the first main one for us is dispersion, and it's just basically getting the pigment mixed up into the medium and homogeneous.
Right. Excellent. Do you need to sort of at some point go through and like scrape that top layer of foam off?
Thankfully, it just mixes straight back into it because it still has pigment in it, and most of the air is gone, and those little bubbles don't bother it. It's just weird how it looks, and I like taking pictures of it.
That's good. Excellent. When we were talking before the show, I mentioned that we had Christian Schmidt on a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And you were talking about it's like the lights that you have and the way that you set it up. Because obviously for a product that is about how it looks in different lighting aspects, or different light settings, it's got to be tough to photograph, right?
Yeah, very much so. And also, since our paints are semi-gloss, they show reflections of pretty much everything in them, which is the point of a metallic, right? However, when you're trying to control it in a studio situation, it gets kind of tough because you see everything in that little surface. So one of the solutions for that are, if you're ever taking pictures at home and you want to really show off our paints, or most paint jobs, I suggest getting near a window if you can, especially if you have a corner with like 2 windows on it, and then put the mini in there, and then basically have the windows kind of lighting around it and wrapping it. And that's actually kind of what I'm mimicking here with the 2 big Octabanks. So these are big 6-foot lights. Essentially, when I was doing portrait photography, they were kind of emulating window light. Window light is very pretty. It's very soft. It's very easy to work with. And then I have a beauty dish in the middle, basically just trying to give you a little pop from the front. Sometimes I'll like wrap the banks in too, so it's just like one continuous wall of light in the first 180 of a mini. That's like super overkill for than what most people need to do. Honestly, if you have a porch, if you have light, if you have windows, utilize those big soft sources.
Yeah. And when you talk about that, just so that we're clear, so if you've got that those 2 corner windows, you're not shooting towards them. You got to get
right. So like you would stand in the corner. You'd stand in the corner here, and your mini would be like down. Whoop, it's all backwards here, down here. So the light's coming from like behind you and wrapping forward around the miniature.
Cool.
It's just a cheap, super easy little hack. And you can build a studio with literally like a piece of like a cardboard box, and tape a piece of printer paper up to the cardboard box and make a smooth little cove. And then you can put your mini on that, and you stand in front of these windows, or with the windows at your back. And for a lot of mini photography, for less than like 20 cents in materials, you can get some pretty good photos. Because I think people overthink it, and especially a lot of us are painting with like a single paint light, and at least for shifts, you need light from multiple angles to make it to show the shift. So you need some light from the front and some light from the side or back. So like it looks like you have one of the lucent lights from Game Envy. I happen to really like the lucent lights from my friend Kit, because you can move the different bars around. So you can have some light from the front. You can move the bars to where you see the different shifts. You can really adjust in that one piece or that one light a lot of how you're lighting your miniature, and as well as being amazing painting lights.
Cool.
But yeah, that's my rant on that. And I think I'm probably going to start trying to teach photography on our YouTube as well.
Okay.
I think it's something that there are some great photographers in the miniature sector, but I think there's more to be taught, and I think more people could like level up their skills pretty easily.
I just want to paint in that setup.
Yeah, right.
Like that light must be amazing.
Oh, I'm trying to duplicate it at the studio or at the office so that I can kind of paint in that, but it's massive. I mean, they're big 6-foot lights, and you kind of can't work around in front of them very easily. So it's a trade-off.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
Don't
super cool.
Don't bite me, kitty. Ow. Okay.
Cal asked, "Is there a mashed potatoes and gravy for Thanksgiving?" But did you suggest metallic cranberry, Jake?
Yeah, I did. I suggested metallic cranberry.
Bad idea.
I'm
more of a ocean spray in a can kind of.
Oh, same. Like I'm a New Englander, man. That's what I want.
Yeah.
It's gotta have the lines.
Yeah, I pride myself on being able to get it out of the can with the ridges and just
Yep,
put it,
that's the best.
it's like a monolith.
Yeah, it's got that right noise
Yep.
when you get it out.
It's so satisfying.
I love it.
Fantastic. Excellent. And Scott says, I picked up a Lucent Light, absolutely awesome lamp. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have two of them in my painting closet. I have one in the front and then one behind, so that I've got 360 lighting.
Right.
That's a good little sheet.
Yeah.
Not to sell Kit's products for him, but get two.
We're trying not to do it too often.
Yeah.
But yeah. Let me just put the lid back on my
on your Game Envy wet palette.
My exemplar wet palette. Yeah.
We have a branded version coming soon too. We were actually part of that last Kickstarter.
Oh yeah.
So the little mini one is going to be pink, and it says Turbo Dork on it. But it's stuck in the port of Atlanta, I think, right now. I'm not 100% sure. Okay. Something like that.
Somewhere around. But, cool. Super excited. We're going to be seeing Kit and the guys at PAX Unplugged in what's that, 2.5 weeks?
Yeah, I just shipped our booth off today. It got picked up by freight. We are booth 3650. We're like somewhere in the middle, which is kind of cool.
Okay.
But yeah, Kit has an amazing booth there. Like, it is chock full of stuff.
Yep. So I'm gonna be hanging out there doing some painting and slinging some books. So
hell yeah,
definitely stop by if you are coming to PAX Unplugged. I think Sean Gleason was in the chat earlier. He's going to be there, no doubt. But yeah, super cool. The next thing.
Oh yeah. So what comes next with Turbo Dork? This is probably the first I'm talking about this in like actual public and not just friends. But yeah. So this is hopefully not stepping on any army painter toes, and I think Adam knows the stuff is coming. We're working on our own opaque paint line, and the question is, of course, what can we offer to people that is not the same as what everybody else is doing?
Yeah.
So, there's so many full stack paint companies, and a lot of stores carry them all, granted, but at this point entering the game, what can we offer that other people don't? So we're looking at just like we kind of made our own little category.
Zero tariffs. That's what you can offer.
Zero tariffs. Yeah, we do make everything.
Company with everything made here. There's zero tariffs.
That's true. That's actually a really good point. Everybody else is European, I think, right? Well, Monument is Arizona.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we make everything here in Texas. Which is crazy, but also cool. So yeah, we're trying to figure out how do we offer something that other people don't. Good reds, that's one of those things. I think the other slide has some more of our color tests. But when I talk about, like, there's days when I go in and I just work on purples. It's like, so the upper right of this is literally just like doing drawdown tests of different purple ideas.
That's Greg's favorite section, that up there.
Yeah. I'm like a purples and pinks kind of guy. But you got to have good blues. And, I haven't really done a whole lot of browns. I need to do more browns. But this is the, like, have an idea, mix it up, stick it to the wall, come back, see what I think about it. So you can see all the little flags on some of these as to, like, whether they're approved or not, or why I did them. But yeah, this is like what's coming next. It's not super descriptive because I don't want to give too much away. But there's going to be colors, like you have to make a Blood Angels type red, you have to make an ultramarine type blue, but we're kind of doing our own versions of like what I think would work really well for those factions. and then we're trying to figure out like, okay, how big of a line do we want to make? Do we want to make 80 paints? Do we want to make 120? I think Army Painter is like 216. Like it's a beefy line.
Yeah, that's the Wall Paints Fanatic line is 216.
Yeah, and they're beautiful paints. I spent the summer doing sort of like oppo research of looking at every manufacturer's paints and kind of testing all the different quality, and doing these drawdown cards. And the new Fanatic war paints are some of the best paints out there right now, if I'm being fully honest.
Yeah,
so
I agree. The more I use them, I'm just like, I'm just going to switch over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is like, so at my rough count, this is about 134 colors. Have you figured out what you're going to do, or is that are you still kind of in that process?
Yeah, we're still cropping down. Yeah. And then it's like, okay, well, we need more browns. We need more kind of basic olive colors kind of for the historical painters and things like that. So it's like, we're kind of working on building out the palette based on what we think the paints will be used for. Because there's definitely things I've done in the past where it's like, I like this particular color, but people don't buy it because it's not like for any particular miniature or faction or whatever. So we're kind of trying to like curate it in a way that's more practical, I think.
It definitely seems like a really weird way to come at like anything, but paint in particular is just a really weird, because you're like, well, we could just kind of do our own thing, which is totally what you did to begin with. You were like, oh, we made a bunch of like color shift paints, and it's like, how many do we have? And you're like, how many can I come up with? Like, no one, like, you're not competing against anyone because no one has that.
Right.
And then with like whether it's Citadel or Army Painter or Chimera or Monument, there's so many options. And I think the biggest thing that I think hurts a lot of these companies is, on one end of the spectrum, you've got a company like Vallejo. So I've used a little bit of Vallejo in my time. Dave's used a little bit of Vallejo, but like there's Vallejo's like game color. Then there's Vallejo's Army color, I think is the other one.
Model
color. And then they have, and both of those lines are insane. They're both massive.
Yeah.
And you have two of them. And then there's Mecha color, and then there's their air color line. And I remember as a store when we first opened, Alex, we were out at dinner with Alex Vallejo, and he was like walking us through the whole thing. And Alex is kind of like, yeah, whatever. So his like lead sales guy was talking to me, and I remember looking through the catalog being like, how much space do I have to dedicate? If I wanted to bring this in as a retailer, the sheer amount of space and real estate I have to dedicate to their line it's absurd. Like I was like, the Vallejo racks would take up the same amount of space as all of the Army Painter racks, the Citadel racks, and the Duncan Rhodes rack. And it's just Vallejo. And I was like, I don't know that I need to do that. Like, it's just too much.
Yeah, it is. It's hard to bite off, especially as a retailer. I mean, I don't know how often you guys talk about this, but like, retailers are taking a real chance on a paint line. It's expensive. It's $2,000 to $3,000 to get one of those racks in, or more if it's like Citadel. And you gotta do that all at once, and you gotta hope those paints sell. And you're betting on like 300 different colors that you're gonna try to make money off of, and it's tough. So that's the other thing too, is I don't want to make something that's hundreds of colors that there's 18 different olive greens that only one person knows the difference between. Like, I want something that's like really effective and creative, and I mean, man, like you think Vallejo's bad, like you should like the AK stuff. They've got like 6 different racks now.
Oh yeah, dude, I'll never carry AK. I've ordered stuff for customers, like onesie twosie stuff. I'll never carry their line. It's just like, I'd be like, okay, guys, so I'm discontinuing carrying Games Workshop like products, and that space is going to be dedicated to like the AK paint racks.
Right.
I can either sell AK paint or stuff that you could paint. Like, I can't do both. Like,
right. Yeah. I mean, it's such a interesting, like, I always wonder, like, what retailer, or like, how does a retailer choose like what paint lines? It's like, is it something you've used? Is it something that your customers have told you about? Is it something that you think is going to just sell even though you don't have an experience with? It's an interesting metric to see kind of how people buy.
Everybody's going to have a slightly different take. Like, well, we've talked about this before. I think part of the reason that I've been really fortunate is that coming from like the gaming and hobby background before I owned my own store, you know, I have a lot of experience with a lot of these paint lines. And then opening the store, it was like, okay, I switched into fully pragmatic business mode, which was, okay, what line is the easiest to get, what line is the easiest to stock, and what line is the most like approachable for customers. And our original mindset was, well, we're a Warhammer store, and they have the Citadel. The Citadel line's been around forever, and both Dave and I have used it for, you know, decades. So it was like, okay, well, that's a no-brainer. It's also part of their like line. Like, in order to be, you know, one of the tiers, you have to carry like the whole line. And I was like, that's fine. We're gonna do that anyways. Yeah. So that was easy. And then I think the next one we brought in was Army Painter, and we did that kind of deliberately. It was either going to be Army Painter or Reaper, because I wanted to have a more like approachable D&D miniature friendly, like, you know, reasonable price point kind of option. So we brought in, after using both of them, I was like, well, I like the Army Painter is easier to work with. And Bo being another, you know, XGW guy, like bringing in that line versus bringing in Reaper made more sense.
Yeah.
And we brought that in, and we had people being like, are you guys going to carry P3? And I was like, we are not. And they were like, why? And I was like, on the one hand, it's really hard to deal with them and get stuff and like manage product. And the other, like, I don't think that they're, on a personal note, I was never a big fan of the old line from Privateer. They had some good colors, but the line overall, I was like, I don't, like, to your point, I was like, I don't know that it adds anything. It's just another company. Right. But there's so many, like Dave and I did an episode a couple of seasons ago about like all the different paint lines, and there's so many. Like, I really feel like if you're not bringing something new to the table, or unless you're like, you know, you have an established reputation, I just don't know that it's worth it. Even the Duncan Road stuff, we brought that in because I had a bunch of customers ask about it. And because we're already Asmodee customers, like they have the deal with Asmodee, so Asmodee is handling all of their distribution. It was super easy to get it. They almost always have it in stock, and it's, to your point, it's not a massive line.
Yeah,
like
it's like 18 inches wide or something like that. But
the rack is not very big. It's 18 inches wide and it's like 4 feet tall. And right now it's 3 shelves. So I think it's like 66 paints, and they're supposedly adding 3 more shelves or 2 more shelves. So it'll be another like 44 paints. And that's the whole line. So I think if I was custom designing a paint rack, I'd be like, okay, we're going to do all the basic colors. So like think like a box of Crayola crayons. We're going to do, you know, red, a yellow,
RGB,
a green, a blue.
RGB.
Yeah, like black and white. and then I almost feel like I'd go out of my way to be like, what are colors that don't exist? Like, what are some colors that, you know, what are some ranges that have weaknesses? Like, so if I took like Citadel, Fanatic, and, you know, let's say Duncan Rhodes or Vallejo or something, and I was like, okay, let's look at their reds. Okay, we're going to make these 3 reds that they don't have. What are their blues? Okay, we're going to make these 3 blues that they don't have. That way you get some, hopefully you get some customers from both. Because I think most of us own paints from every, like even here on the shelf, I've got 4 different paint lines on this shelf. I think Dave on his desk probably has like 5 or 6.
Yeah.
You know,
I spent a good portion of this summer taking literally all of my paints, doing these drawdowns. So these are like with a calibrated bird applicator bar to be exactly the same thickness. And then being like, okay, what are my favorite reds out of all these different companies? Okay, I'm taking these 3 and I'm putting them on my rack. Yep. And so I've got a mashup of, you know, because I've at this point, bought something like 5 entire paint lines. And it's like, but I'm not going to use 18 different reds. I'm going to use 2, you know, like, and then, it's like, how do I find, or how do I make something that's new and can add to that, you know, palette? But it's been an interesting process, and I think it's tough, right? Because like you said, there's a new paint line almost every year too, and everybody's redone their paint lines too. You know, there was like the Game Color relaunch, the new Fanatic War paints. I think the Speed Paints 2.0 are really good. I think the original contrast paints are really good. You know, the Citadel paints are like what everybody knows and what we all learned on, right? Like their paint line is geared towards getting 13-year-olds into the hobby. and they do an amazing job of it. And I think they're a great paint line to teach with. But I don't want to criticize it too much, but they've gone very, very far towards single coat coverage, and they've lost a little of their saturation. So there's some room for us to jump in and make cool colored stuff that they can't cover, because they want one coat coverage instead of, say 2 coats like Duncan. They've gone for a different mix that works really well for new painters, but I kind of want to go for like that intermediate painter.
Yeah.
I think one of the I don't know if they still exist. There used to be a company that's I think they're in Poland, called Warcolor. Yeah. And I think they're still around. Like Adam Pratt, who's a buddy of ours, is like obsessed with their stuff. But there was some guy who I think worked at Warcolor who, as a joke, he was like, buy these 5 colors. And then he was like, here's a list of all the original Citadel colors. So like, I mean, the old like Storm Blue and Scorpion Green. And like, he literally was like, here's the formula to make all of these colors out of these 5. So it was like, you had to buy a black, a white, a medium red, a medium blue, and a medium blue and a medium green. Or yellow, sorry. And you could make every single color. I was like, that's nuts. Like, it was like, oh, here's the old, whatever it was, Catechin green. He was like, it's this many parts black, this many parts white, this many parts yellow, this many parts blue. And I was like, that's crazy that this guy took the time to be like, here's the entire original Citadel range.
Yeah.
Yep. Excellent.
Yeah, I think they're out of Cyprus, maybe.
They might be, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Warcolor makes some really nice stuff too. They're just hard to get here.
Says, bring back Citadel Fire Dragon Crimson.
Oh my god. Yeah.
I
had some Eldar back in the day.
I remember back in the day, it was Blood Angel Orange.
Yep.
Which always cracked me up. I was like, what?
Yeah.
I found some of the old like the yellow label hex pots, so that I could read them into our system, so I could be like, okay, what does Goblin Green actually look like? Yeah. Is it just my memory of what this looks like, or is this like really that? And it is still cool.
I think one of my favorite paints of all time has got to be Chestnut Ink from
I have a little dried up bottle of that still.
I still have one bottle that's still good. I have one bottle.
Oh no. Mine's not.
Fantastic. I've got, Jake, just so you know, 7. I have 7 paint lines on my desk.
Oh my god.
God.
There's examples of all of them. Just they fit in one. Now I don't know.
Everybody does something different.
Paint avalanche. There we go.
Paint avalanche. Yeah, that is most of our lives, I think, these days.
Yeah. Awesome. Let me. So I'm just going to run my computer and click on this. Luis says at the moment he has 5 brands of paint. He's past the 300 mark, including Gundam colors. Excellent.
Oh yeah.
So we have the X-ray photo.
Yes. So I don't know if a lot of people know this or not, but we kind of relaunched our brand back in January, and I kind of jokingly refer to all of our new paints as our like Turbo Dork remix. But there were kind of 2 big reasons. Main thing was I wanted to make paints more hand brushable, so there was going to be a big formula switch for that. The second reason was
that you hate retailers.
Is that I hate retailers, exactly. I don't hate retailers. Hey, our original rack, which was 8 trays, we can just you can just get a conversion kit for that. You don't have to buy a whole new rack. You can just change it, and it works with the new paints. There's like no good way to do a relaunch in retail, I just, sometimes you just got to go for it, and it sucks.
Yeah.
Greg, I'm mostly giving you a hard time. Mostly.
Yeah. No, I understand. Believe me, I have a lot of respect for retailers, and we owe our success to the fact that something like 300 retailers have decided to take the chance on us, and the trade-off is like, if we can make a better product, I feel like we should. And then we should put it out in the world. And it's like, how do we make it more palatable for somebody to have to get rid of their old paints, get the new paints? And it's like, at some point you just got to call it and be like, look, it's just going to be better. I'm sorry, this sucks, but like in the future, it's going to be really good, you know. And I feel like we did an okay job of it. I feel like we could have done a better job communicating earlier ahead of time. Things that I'm learning, you know. But one of the other big things was like we needed to move to automation in terms of getting a filling machine. Like we'd been filling all of our paint bottles by hand, 3 of us sitting in front of a big 55-inch TV, you know, watching Rick and Morty for like 8 hours a day, filling paint bottles, and it was like we just can't keep up with this anymore. So we got a new filling machine last December and switched over to that, which good and bad meant going to a new bottle. So we have a new bottle design, which are what you guys have,
Cool.
which are clear PET. They're fully recyclable, and they've got a couple cool features. Which the first one is because it's clear, you can really see the shifts when the pigment settles on the bottom of the bottle. Like you can really see what the color is. But the other big thing is it has like a no drip tip with like a little floating membrane. So when you tighten the cap on it, it actually seals it. So there's basically like when you're shaking it to get the pigment back up into suspension, and you're not coating the inside of the cap with a bunch of paint. Or you can pop the tip off and you can get those mixing sticks in there and you can mix the pigment up by hand, which is generally how I use it because I'm impatient. But it was like it's a wider mouth bottle than normal and has a big tip on it, so you can get in there as opposed to a kind of a traditional style dropper like Vallejo or Army Painter.
Cool.
But yeah,
Excellent.
that's sort of this picture. Is I just kind of wanted to like call out the cool new stuff, you know. Oh, and we have a glass mixing ball in there instead of metal now too, because we're trying to be as green as we can. Like it's tough as a company that essentially makes colorful liquid plastic to be, you know, earth centric, but at least all of our packaging can be recyclable now. So something to be said for that.
Jez is asking, what was the name of the blue purple shift?
The OG blue purple is blue raspberry.
Blue raspberry.
We have a bunch of blue purple shifts though. The one that was in the picture, the foam, was from blue purple, a darker one called Let Them Eat Cake, and it's a darker blue, darker purple.
Right.
Blue raspberry is a pretty bright shift. It's more of like an either or kind of color. There's less of a transition. It's either like blue, purple, pink, whereas Let Them Eat Cake has a nice fade.
Cool. Awesome. I just noticed that the time is 8:39, so we're getting
wow.
We should be jumping into our community minis very soon. But final slide that we've got from you, Greg, is the call to action.
Oh yes. Black Friday week next week. Come by, paint, slightly discounted. We haven't run any sales all year. This is the only sale we're running. And it's a 15% off MSRP from Monday through Monday for Black Friday week.
Nice.
Fantastic.
And we have Emerald Nightmare coming back for that week too, if you want like a dark metallic green.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cal says, where are they based in? Do you mean whereabouts would it be shipping from?
We are in Buda, Texas. So we are like 20 minutes south of Austin, Texas. And we ship every day. But if you have a local hobby retailer, check them out. Please buy locally. Support your friendly local hobby, or FLGS, friendly local gaming store.
Yep. Exactly. So very cool. So yeah, again, there's a link to Turbo Dork in the notes below. I think it's the first link in the list. So definitely go and check that out. But no, absolutely awesome. So I think that's the last one. Yep.
Woo!
Cool. So, Greg, thank you very much for running us through all that. Are you good to stick around to go through our community?
Hell yeah!
Cool community. Fantastic.
I love looking at paint jobs.
Let's jump straight into that then. Should I talk it through again? Present, share screen, window.
Command Shift.
This is for all the people. This is for all the people driving. This is for all the
slideshow.
people driving. Listen to us on like Spotify.
Right.
Awesome.
Ooh.
Fantastic. So first up, we've got some pieces by Adam Weller. I had to make sure I included this Blood Angels Terminator for Jake.
So I'm trying to figure out if this is a conversion or if this is just the guy from Space Hulk.
I think it's just the guy from Space Hulk, isn't it?
So,
well, sorry, cut off his base and put onto another base.
yeah, but like the Paturges are definitely an addition, and then that looks like it's the new scale Terminator.
Okay. Well, maybe it's the new scale Terminator using the Space Hulk arm.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. It's I mean, I like whatever it is, I love it. I was just curious.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. It looks a lot like the Space Hulk Terminator, but
Yeah.
that guy's covered in purity seals and stuff.
Yep.
Right.
Huh. That's
Okay.
cool.
Nice work there, Adam. Looking great. I'm loving the sorry, where is it? There we go. The non-metallic metal here on the back end of that.
Yeah, the very subtle non-metallic, man, because it's only really there and on the iron sight, because like the barrels are just blue because they're like kind of in darkness.
Yep.
So it's just like that top corner.
Yep. Looks great. Adam also shared this one.
Wow.
So
Adam, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's a whole other level.
yep. I'm loving the purples that he's pushing into the skin tones. And here around sort of in the depths in here.
This is such a weird model.
It is, isn't it? It's wild.
Like it's cool, but like there's so much going on. You're like he has like his feet are really tiny, but then there's tons of detail on like the boots, and then he has like scale armor on his legs and on his upper arms, but then he's not wearing any armor on his chest. And then like the handles of his sword are really weird. Like this model is just weird. Like I don't know where it came from or what it's part of, but it's pretty out there.
My guess is it's it's just a one-off. It's for painting. It's probably from a company that does my guess would be a Patreon, like a digital Patreon kind of thing.
Like it's a diorama miniature.
Yeah.
And he's got like a Sub-Zero face mask, but then he's got devil horns.
Yeah. It's got a real sort of Oni kind of feel to it.
I mean, that skin is amazing though. Yeah, when you start bringing like more purples into and kind of the liveliness of it, that's cool.
Yeah. It's really good. Nice work, Adam. And then next up, sorry, I will say I didn't put in Adam's Rabute Gilliman. So he's done an awesome job on.
His Gilliman is amazing.
So yeah, you can check that out in the Facebook group where all these are from. Alan. So this is Seward from Dracula.
Okay.
So I think it's Dr. Seward. I could be wrong, but the doctor's case would suggest that he's a doctor.
Fair.
But yeah, I think it's for Dracula's America.
That's cool. I like the suit.
Dave, you love that game.
I do. Then the game is cool. I was complaining to somebody over the weekend about the way that Osprey Games lay out their rule books poorly. But Dracula's America, however, is a really cool game. Excellent dice mechanics in it. Yeah. Oh, sorry. There we go. Alan's back on, correcting me already. It's for Crooked Dice's Dracula game, but it would certainly work in Dracula's America. But yeah. Excellent. But nice work, Alan. Looking good. And Alan's also painting up some more Cyberpunk minis. Well, actually, no, these are Sargrave minis. Can we get that right?
Yeah, it's for one of his crews, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Looking really good.
Stargrave's a cool, like unsung hero of a game.
The guy on the right definitely has a rebel trooper on Andor vibes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm loving that green that you've got there, Alan. It's really nice. And the red, that really nice vibrant red we're talking about, Craig.
Yeah.
Looking good. No, beautiful work, Alan. Great. Just going back to the doctor there. Jez says Gladstone bags, which is what that is. Were traditionally made from camel skin. Just so you know.
Okay. Huh.
Awesome. Next up, we've got Amos with this. This Is this the Destroyer Lord? The Scorpic
Yeah, that's the
Destroyer Lord?
Scorpec Destroyer Lord.
Yeah.
He is a monster.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. I love that mini.
Yeah.
Looks fantastic. And I'm also loving Amos's base here is just it's really simple, but super effective.
Yeah, I did something similar for my Necrons, doing like the Mars mud, and it's like it contrasts really well with their, it's like the smooth organic shape or non-organic shapes work really well with then like crushed up dirt.
Yeah. Yep. But
this guy's huge too. He's like really, really big for a Necron.
Yeah, that's like 60 millimeter base, right?
Yeah, I love his wildly impractical 3-leg layout.
Yeah. The tripod.
His arms are weird too because he has the one giant arm on the left side and then he has 2 little arms on the right side.
Yeah.
Well, that blade is like half the size of him too.
Yeah, that's like the size of a guardsman. The blade.
Yeah.
But yeah, beautiful work there, Amos. Looking good.
Yeah, I like that guy.
Ben.
Yep.
Ben's,
this is Ben's scratch built Trench Crusade force.
Yep. So he was excited by the Black Grail. I just want to so the I guess the most sort of Nurgle-esque of the demonic forces in Trench Crusade. So yeah, he grabbed a whole bunch of Age of Sigmar models and went to town.
It's a mix mash because like the guy in the back right is like a Plague Marine.
Yeah. Yep. But I mean, we've got a lot of you got like Blight Kings.
Yeah.
Plague Bearers. And yeah, crazy. That's like it looks like an orc head.
Yeah,
it does look like an orc head.
Cool.
But yeah, so he definitely obviously had a lot of fun mashing those together. But yeah, that's another great thing about Trench Crusade. You can it's miniature agnostic, and the makers have always said, yep, they'll always be happy to accept miniature agnostic stuff. So yeah, you can just go to town and have some fun. But yeah, nice work, Ben. That looked great.
Those are cool.
Bing, Bing's painting up some these wonderful Night Lords.
Yeah, I like these.
Yeah, I love this. He's got a very sort of dark, ominous kind of look to them.
So I think that's a big thing for me is like the Night Lords. The Night Lords are supposed to be wearing like the darkest blue imaginable.
Yeah.
Like it's supposed to be so dark it almost looks black. So I really like it when people take it to this extreme and then kind of like do their highlights up. Because like if you look at the guy on the right, you're like, oh, that guy's wearing black armor, and then you see like the little line of blue on his toe and the little line of blue on his shoulder pad on his elbow, and you're like, oh, it's blue armor. So I really love the way that these look, and they look very dark and scary and grimdark Batman. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there's a lot of factions that like when you paint them dark, they kind of disappear. But something about the Night Lords, they work as being super dark. It's like the sculpts and the armor work with it, and the little bits of like the red bat wings, they really help you hone in on the right details. This is a really good paint job.
Yeah. And you gotta love that you can see the glow coming from inside the drilled out barrel there.
Very nice. As it should be. On the pistol also.
Yep.
Oh, you remember the Night Lords we showed last week, the ones that Chris Gorka did?
Yep.
He painted those up for one of my guys.
All right, cool. Nice. For one of your customers.
Ray, who's one of our workers, like he's one of our partners. Like he was like, "Oh, I got to show you these new models." He's like, "I had them painted by one of the guys on the show," and I went, "Who?" He goes, "Chris Gorka." And I go, "Did he paint Night Lords for you?" He goes, "Yeah." I was like, "Okay, showed him up on the show."
Oh my god, that's cool.
But yeah,
he's like, they look great. I'm like, "Of course they do," because Chris Gorka is a great painter.
Cal's in the chat. We've got your these some crazy.
Are these
the
old school
OG?
Nerdlings?
Yeah, these are the OGs, right?
No, these are a
right?
different company. These aren't original GW minis.
They're off-brand Plague Bearers.
Off-brand Plague Bearers. These are Plague Bearers that they have at home.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, no, I'm loving the rusty look on those swords there. Cal, looking very cool.
Dude, they look like they just heard the best joke ever.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely see that laughing. But no, they look cool. You know, those entrails coming out as well
Those are great.
on the left-hand side. Yeah, nice one, Cal. Excellent. Speaking of Chris Gorka,
Dude,
Chris
these
posted
are
some photos of his
Oh yeah.
Vespid sting wings.
I've never seen them in blue. They're always like usually reds or oranges and stuff, and they look so good in the blue.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think Greg, you'd be loving that that purple sort of pushed into the shadows.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I love like little subtle bits of color where there's like the little bit of green on the webbing and the on the wings.
Yep.
It's like I like paint jobs where the longer you look at it, the like your eye moves around and you see all the little details and like little stuff that the painter's kind of hidden in there.
Yep.
This is a nice one for that.
I like the white too. Like it's because it's not really white. It's like a powder blue.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cold, you know. Yeah.
Like there's almost no white on them, but it reads as white because the model is so blue.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, those
But
are
no, they
great.
look great, Chris.
Those sculpts are so good. Like they look so much cooler than the old Vespid.
Oh
Yeah,
my
The
god.
old metal ones.
Yep, without a doubt. But no, beautiful work, Chris. Chris also has like on the Facebook group has a spinner video, so you can check them all out. That one video. Yeah, nice one. Chris has also painted up
Nice.
the Infernal Mummy.
Yeah.
And
the Eternal Mummy, and that is Danny Rand, the Iron Fist.
fantastic.
Different Iron Fist than we usually deal with. That's good though. I think skins are really hard to do. And
yeah.
I've seen some good skins so far these last couple of paint jobs.
Yeah, absolutely. There we go. Oh, sorry. Cal said, sorry, my net failed for most of what you said about mine. They're from Satire Art Studios, based off old art.
Nice.
Cool. So yeah, I think Satire Arts have been going through and doing a few not play bearers or not other types of models. But, yeah.
That guy on the left, I want to convert into like Mumra.
Right.
Oh my god.
I'm at the point now, really, with any mummy sort of thing, where it's like, when I like growing up, it was always like, oh yeah, the mummies are super terrifying, jumping around. But now that I know that like mummies, the legs were never wrapped individually, it's like,
Oh yeah.
they wouldn't have been prepared like that. They'd just be hopping around, coming to get. It's slightly less scary, like somebody like jumping around in a sleeping bag, but.
Or they have to cut the bands off and then they're only banded on the top. They're like some Donald Duck and then just naked from the waist down running around.
Exactly. I must admit I hadn't thought of it that way, but you're totally correct.
Dave was only worried about bottomless mummies.
Yeah. But no, Chris, excellent job there. I love that the magical green glow as well.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, awesome stuff. Chris, here we go.
Nice.
So yeah, when we were talking before, Chris was asking about what colors could be good for power blades.
Yeah.
So this is the scheme that he was talking about. I think he was saying that it's like a Payne's gray for his armor plating.
Yeah, Payne's gray is a beautiful color too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what I would use for these guys because they're such a different palette than a lot of our colors really exist in.
Yeah.
We're so hyper bright compared to this. You know, this is that like quintessential grim, dark, weathered, you know, like limited palette. You know.
That's what I think. That's something like something that's a very like saturated red orange.
Yeah, ground as lava would work as an accent to this. Like,
yeah,
you know, the middle of the carapace is almost our color, like afterburner.
Yeah, like the tank thing in the middle.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that'd be a way to go. But yeah, looking great, Chris. Very nice.
Chris is killing it.
Scott says, I love that mech dude from Chris. I think that's my favorite of the week. But yeah, looking great. Awesome. Dan Osborne, Super Dan Osborne, posted this Night Lancer, which looks fantastic. This
a corn Night
yeah,
Lancer.
I was going to say, yeah, corrupted Night Lancer. Looking fantastic. I think that shield is from Taro Model Maker in the UK. But yeah, looking fantastic. That pop of that sort of turquoise teal in the center of the shield is perfect.
I like how, in case you weren't sure who he's dedicated to, there's like,
yeah,
you're like, who does this guy work for? And I'm like, well, it's on his shield, it's on his leg, it's on his shoulder, it's on his
that's like
shield,
5
on his cockpit, it's everywhere.
Yep, absolutely.
You know, he's got the full Adidas tracksuit of corn on. You know,
there's got to be 8 of them on there somewhere.
Yeah. Oh right. Yeah, you got to get the corn number in.
Excellent. We'll have to ask him next time.
There's 3 on the back somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Awesome. Fantastic. Thanks, Dan. Looks great.
I like that guy.
Awesome. Dave Hummel will have to head out. He's got an early day tomorrow, but he's been building up some Sanguinary Guard.
That's cool.
Nice. I still have a box of them somewhere. I'm gonna use the old jump packs on the new guys.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, the new wings are a little small.
Yeah, they're just like directional veins.
Yeah.
But yeah, looking good, Dave. You get to painting those now. Yeah, Injustice with wings. Awesome. Dave Powell's. He was inspired by a couple of Mordheim episodes we've had recently. So this is his Undead Warband.
That's the in the middle. That's the Bretonian
Damsel,
right?
Yep, absolutely. I think it's replaced. I think she usually has a staff in that hand, or a chalice.
I think she has a chalice in her left hand and a staff in her right hand.
Right. But yeah, giving her that nice big sword, chunky sword. I love the
model. What's the model to the right?
This one,
the one in the red.
Yeah. That's from the Sisters of Sigmar warband.
Oh, okay.
She's like an initiate, a blind initiate. But these are the 2 thralls.
Is that the
dregs? Sorry, dregs. What's that? Is
that the old orc wolf in the middle in the back?
Yeah, the plastic one. Yep.
Yeah.
And we've got some Paul Muller ghouls, which are some fantastic ghouls from back in the day.
I've gotten to that point in my hobby where I'm starting to try to collect all these old miniatures that, like, you know, I loved when I was a kid. I'm getting into that old hammer thing. You know?
Nice.
Where it's like, I know these guys. Like, where do I know them from? Like, this is cool.
Yeah. It looks great there, Dave. Looking very cool. Nice.
Ooh.
Dude.
Lynn has finished painting up his Triaros.
That thing is so good.
Yeah, that looks absolutely amazing. We had some great sort of detail shots last week of the all the wonderful damage down the side panels. But yeah,
it's literally a tractor. It's like it's a Mechanicus tractor.
Yeah. But it's absolutely wild. Looks fantastic. Yeah, the volumes that Zulin's got on there with those gradients look awesome.
It's so hard to do that, to take a model that you're like, what is it? You're like, it's a red brick. Then he's put so much into it. Like, there's so many little bits and like all the wear and all like the dings and the chips and the weathering and like the powder almost on the bottom where like the red is.
Yep.
Like where the I guess like the turn points for the tread.
Yeah.
It's so cool. There's so much. I don't even want to think about how many reds are on there.
Yeah.
But because of
those things, there's so much
it breaks the whole thing up.
modulation.
It makes it look great.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely
That's amazing.
So yeah, there's a shot of the back and a shot of the little servitor or Surastel there. But yeah,
I
beautiful.
like the little sunroof that it's got going on.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, you gotta let some white in.
Yeah. But looking good. And painted up some tech thralls as well.
Yeah, these are great.
Ooh.
Yep. Again, that Martian basing always looks nice.
So cool.
But yeah, beautiful work. So then, thanks very much for sharing those.
Amazing.
Next up, we've got some stuff from Jez.
Nice.
There we go. So we've got some witches on the left. I can't remember. I know you told me who they were from, Jez, but I can't remember. But you can pop it in the chat. That'd be great. There's also a wonderful scratch-built piece of terrain there.
Dude, I want to live there. That's a great house.
That is,
Yeah.
You are ready for the zombie apocalypse in that house.
Yep, that's got you can have a so you've got the ground floor, you've got the first floor, second floor is probably here, third floor up here, fourth floor. Yep.
It's good for those New England winters too, because the snow's not gonna get up there.
Oh,
yeah.
You only have to shovel the little staircase, so
Yeah, exactly.
Jess says the witches there are from Midland Miniatures. Excellent. Fantastic.
That's really cool.
Excellent. I wonder if Josh meant to put that in the chat. I'm confused. Anyway, we'll move right along. Jess also sent these. So these are some border reavers. I think he said they were from Flags of War.
okay.
But yeah, so these are from I think these are from the period of like the Jacobite Rebellion. Like
Yeah, you got like the Spanish looking conquistador guy, and then like some very like, I guess, sort of Central European militia looking dudes.
There's a little bit of that. A little bit of that. But yeah, they look great. The blue and the gray.
Those are cool.
Looks really nice. I'm loving the all the work, the highlighting work on the folds. And this guy over here. His sleeves and his waistcoat. Really nice, Jez. They look beautiful.
Yeah, those are awesome.
Excellent. And great. John Steining, we saw some rivers John had been working on last.
Cool looking pond. It's a terrible looking pizza.
Yes. Worst pizza ever.
If I open the box and it looks like that, I'm going to be upset.
Oh, yeah. What flavor is that pizza?
I don't know.
Water.
What a flavor. Jez says that the border reavers are dodgy cattle thieves on the English-Scottish border in the 1500s.
Nice.
There we go. So a bit before, a couple of hundred years before the Jacobite Rebellion. But yeah, perfect resin pour for sure.
Yeah, that's cool.
But nice work, John. Great to see you continuing some cool.
I can smell that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We all know exactly what poured resin smells like.
Yep. There we go. Oh, Sean's suggesting it's blue cheese flavor. Justin's working, putting some more working on the his shadow box here.
I like
so the
this.
Happy Monk.
That's cool.
Went in and did some underpainting for sort of, so he has a sort of like a consistent sort of shadowy color across the model. So when he starts working on those different colors, we'll see those that sort of burgundy color remain in the shadows.
Nice.
Yeah, looking good. Nice work, Justin. Kelly's painting up some more of the Marvel Crisis Protocol creatures box.
Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah. Now, so where does this one? How does this one fit into the Marvel lore?
So the monster. So Dracula's been in the Marvel lore for a long time because like he fights Blade and like he fights the X-Men he's fighting the X-Men a couple of times. And then a bunch of the other monsters have fought. Like there's a couple of mummies. There's the living mummy, and then there's another mummy. I can't remember the name of it. Frankenstein's monster, I don't really remember. I think Frankenstein's monster was in the oh god, what is he in? He's in one of the Dracula offshoots because like Dracula is like utilizing him, but I genuinely don't remember in terms of like the current arc where he comes from. So
Right. Cool.
have you ever seen the edit somebody did? So they take Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, because at the end of the book, the idea is that the monster is on a boat that's like drifting away.
Yeah.
And then like that's the end of the book. So somebody added another sentence where it says, and as he drifted out of sight, I heard him yell, "You can just call me Frankenstein or Frankenstein's monsters. It's fine." Like, and then that's the end.
Excellent. But yeah, no, looking really cool there, Kelly. I'm loving the
Okay.
the jeans, that denim color that he's got going on. Something really good.
He kind of looks like just like if Arnold Schwarzenegger was a revenant.
Right. Yeah. Or Conan, yeah.
Like you could totally just make this with Arnold Schwarzenegger and it'd be fine.
Like Conan hair and the furry
the fur vest.
Yeah. Looks great.
If you cut out the chain and give him the Aquilonian sword, I would believe it.
Nice. Oh, there we go. Kelly says, first appearance of Frankenstein's monster was in Silver Surfer #7.
Yeah, okay. I mean, like I said, I knew he's been around for a while. I don't know what they're doing in the current story arc, but
yeah. But excellent work, Kelly. Luis gave us a bit of an insight into his painting process. So we've seen it before with the sub assemblies, but this is so everything tacked together, prime black. Send the highlight there with white ink over the top, and then jumping in with some black Templar contrast paint and some Corvus black to give him a shading. But yeah, there's another one of his finished Raven Guard Scouts.
That acrylic ink from Liquitex or like the Dollar Roni stuff is like the best Zenithal material ever. it sprays so well.
Yeah.
I love all the knives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of the. He's like, let me pull out this knife and kill this guy. I dropped the knife. I'm gonna get my other knife and kill this guy.
Yeah.
Well,
it's so they can run around with two of them, right, at the same time, right? They do the scissor slice.
I love it.
But yeah, they're looking great. Luis, nice work. Fantastic. Scott's painted up this is a free mini from GW stores, I think this month. But I need to get my hands on this one for my Votan army.
That guy's awesome.
Yep.
I love the leather pilot's cap with the goggles.
Yeah. I think he has like a revolver shotgun too.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is kind of nuts.
Yeah, super cool there. He's got the shells. I mean, that's a big, like, what do you call that? The barrel, the chamber.
The gauge or the caliber.
No. What's the
for a shotgun? It's the gauge.
No, but
you mean the cylinder?
The cylinder. Yeah. What's rotating with the where you put the ammunition?
I think it's the cylinder. I think.
Yeah.
Right.
It goes in each cylinder in the revolver, because instead of a magazine you have that.
Yeah. Yep. But no, definitely cool.
He's also gotten 12 kills. It looks like.
Right. Yeah.
That's cool. I like that little detail.
Yep. That's why he's got that hard stare.
Yeah.
I love the idea of being in power armor, but then wearing a trench coat over the power armor.
Yeah. Well, it's not really power armor. It's
just like a chest piece.
Yeah, really. Actually, it's just a chest piece.
Power fest.
Yeah. But no, I think it's super cool. I love that sort of the brownish olive green that you've got going on there, Scott. I know it's a favorite of yours, but yeah, the texture on that jacket is really nice. Cool. Oh, Scott's saying Sam Lenz is running a friendly Paint 'em Under event on his Patreon. This guy will be a bounty under for that event.
That is super cool.
There you go. Nice one. Looks great, Scott. Love it. Sean is testing as well, which is fantastic. So yeah, these are from Malifaux. And so this is from the Wild Ones. Is the name of the box set that these come in. But yeah,
those look like those girls stole those from some Skaven engineers that were not paying attention.
Yeah, pretty much.
There's some warp stone right there.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
But they are super cool. I love you gotta love them on a wheel.
Yeah.
But oh, somebody throwing some hearts in there. Very cool.
Those are cool.
But looking awesome, Scott. I don't want to say Scott. Sean, sorry. Looking very cool. Lovely. Again, hopefully, Sean, you're going to enter these in the painting competition at PAX Unplugged. Oh, yeah, nice one. Great.
Very nice.
Next up, Stephen. Stephen's
classic Ralph Partha Dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually amazing. It's a huge piece. That looks great.
It's some
Really nice work on all of those scales.
I'm pretty sure my party and I, when I was 12, definitely killed this monster.
Yeah.
We absolutely had this model on the table. I think it was a red dragon.
Right.
That's cool.
Nice. There we go. Oh yeah, there we go. Freaking huge, 200 millimeters by 10 millimeters. So
200 millimeters by 100 millimeters.
What did I say?
You said 200 by 10.
Sorry, I meant 10 centimeters. Why I was doing that, I don't know. 8 by 4. There we go.
It's pretty cool, though.
You could still get him, too.
Really? Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, Ralph Partha kind of had a relaunch.
Is that the Ralph Partha Legacy?
Yeah.
Yep.
It looks like he's on their website.
Nice.
Greater Blue Dragon.
Excellent. Oh, there we go. The base is 160 by 80. Cool.
So crazy.
Nice. And there's the base.
Nice.
That's nice.
Good. Yeah, I love those. I like color and texture. Is that real desert feel? Nice one, Stephen. And also,
yeah,
even though it's slightly out of focus,
another Dragon Man.
It's a little bit of camera shake, I think. But yeah, this Dragon guy is awesome. Love the work on that sword.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's great.
Man, some of the old sculpts, you look at them and you're like, they take you back, but then you start looking at all the detail and you're like, oh right, that's why we moved on. like look at that. The hand, like the I remember this model. The sculpt on that hand is so weird.
Yeah, where the little finger is bigger than the index finger.
Yeah, like, and it wraps around the bottom, like it's super weird. Like,
yeah, or his 4-pack.
Right.
Yeah, randomly there's a cutout. There's like a peekaboo spot in his armor, for all the ladies.
Yeah, he's got to show off.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yep. There we go. Steven says parts are totally wonky, and that's why they're great.
Yeah. Oh God.
Fantastic.
I mean, the legs are cool. The legs are good.
But yeah, beautiful work though, Steven. We love seeing more of these. And finally, I think we showed
this off last week, but this model is amazing.
Yeah, we showed it. He was like 80% of the way through last week. We finished it off now. When he was posting it, he said, so between when we saw it last week and this image, he accidentally snapped the blade off.
Oh.
And then when he pinned it back on, but when he pinned it back on, it and sort of left it to dry, it twisted slightly.
Oh.
And now he knows, like, if he goes back in and tries to twist it back, it's not gonna work.
It's snap again. Yeah.
Yep. But beautiful work though, nonetheless. I think did I find a picture that I sent it to you, Jake, of where it was from? Where is it? I think I did find a picture.
I hope Tommy has Gotrek coming.
Right, I'm pretty sure he does. So it's was that called the Oath Brothers?
Oh yeah, you did send it to me. You did send it to
from
me.
Kachi Miniatures. So CACHI Miniatures.com. But yeah, fantastic looking Gotrek should be coming alongside that guy. But yeah, beautiful stuff. So that's the last of the photos for the Facebook community.
Very nice, crew. Very nice.
Yep, awesome work. And next week, joining us on the show will be Simon Berman, our friend from the Brush Wielders Union.
Nice.
So again, we'll talk about surprise, surprise, painting miniatures. But yeah, we thought it'd be a good idea. So we spoke to Simon at the beginning of last year. I think he was our first guest for season 2. So yeah, we'll just catch up, see how the Brush Wielders Union is doing, and see if Simon has managed to complete his pledges for this year. So it should be pretty cool.
That's why I don't sign up for the union, so I don't have to feel bad when I don't follow through on the pledges I've made. So
yeah, I get the passport book every year, and then I get shamed every month with the little sticker that I didn't put on it. And I'm like, oh.
For me, I know that I'm going to paint miniatures anyway. So for me, like supporting the union is so that Simon can spread the word and help folks who are going through that process. And
so what I might do for next year is I might sign up as a union member, and I'm gonna put all of Dave's goals in my book, so that way I'll be like, yep, I'll be like,
achieves
I had that Dave was gonna paint a Space Marine army this month. That happened. Done.
You totally did. Yep.
Yeah, we've been union members since the beginning, and I think what they do is great, and I think he actually does a really good job of building a community that encourages people to paint on the reg and have some accountability, but only as much as you want. Actually, now that I'm painting stuff for YouTube, I can actually start sticking those little things in my password book.
Exactly. Well, you can also, I'm sure if you're like, okay, we've got to paint another 30 spoons this month.
Right, yeah, that could be my goal. Oh my god.
Super cool. Excellent. Mick says, thanks guys, great show. Going to pick up some Turbo Dork Pink Purple now for Embren's children. Very cool. So yeah, Mick, I'm not sure if you noticed, if you heard that, but at the beginning of the show, that was Greg's initial, like his first paint was to work on a purple paint for Emperor's Children.
Yeah, People Eater.
Yeah, nice.
The OG.
Cool. So yeah, I think that brings us to the end of the show.
Well, Greg, thank you so much for being here. It's always a pleasure talking to you. I got to hang out with Greg a couple of months ago at Granite State Comic-Con, so we get to see each other probably 5 or 6 times a year usually.
Yep.
But yeah, it was awesome to hang out and spend time with my wife and get some food and talk business a little bit. It was awesome having you on the show. I know Dave and I have been looking forward to this. I deliberately have not touched that so that we could unbox it on the show. And I was like, now I can crack it open, because I didn't want to like take stuff and have stuff not be in there and be like, I don't know where it is.
Oh, right. Yeah. No, thank you guys for having me.
Oh, of course, man. Huge shout out to the Army Painter again as our sponsor. Make sure if you're listening to the show, whether it's now in your live or you're listening to it, through iHeartRadio or iTunes or Spotify or whatever, make sure you like and subscribe. Leave a comment, do all this stuff to outsmart the algorithm. And if anyone needs anything, obviously you can message us. Greg is going to be having a sale for Black Friday week. You can pick up stuff 50% off, or you can shop at your local store. We will talk to you guys next week, I guess. Dave, you got anything else?
No, I think that's about it. I just forgot to say to Greg before the show, if you just hang out a little bit, we'll come back.
Yeah, we'll be back. We'll be back with you in a second. But for everybody else, we will see you guys next week. And as always, do not forget to build, paint, play.